All right. Yo, what's up, guys? So, Troy was worried that you guys would give him shit for wearing gym clothes. And what I have to say to that is go to the gym. Fuck him, dude. So, you're not here to fucking learn from like guys in suits, You're just here to learn how to get laid, all right? So in this video, we just want to talk about what women want, what women are attracted to, and really, I kind of have a rant that I want to make about this. It's really just about giving them a different experience than they're used to. Because women, the only thing that's been true, I was telling Troy this earlier, the only thing that's ever been true about dating in general through thousands of years is that women don't want what they have. Like in general, people don't want what they have. But women specifically, they don't want to have their experience continue. If you look at stories, movies, TV shows, whatever, it's always, dude, even that Big Bang Theory thing, it's like, even Penny, she has like probably the experience of like dating douchebags and she wanted something different. It's always she wants something different. The girl always wants something different. She's always having some experience that she isn't happy with, and Prince Charming comes in and sweeps her off her feet and takes her to something different. And that's really the effect that we're going for here. If you go through our approaching model, whenever we talk about adventure, that's really what this is the entire approach is an adventure. The entire interaction is an adventure. You just have to you really have to make sure that the adventure takes place later in the interaction. But the entire time, there's an adventure going on in her head. There's a story being written in her head. And especially people that are more emotional and like really feminine women, they really like writing stories in their head. My girlfriend talks about it all the time. She has like a narration that constantly goes on in her head of like the story she's living through. And so that's like a constant thing. It happens all the fucking time. And so this is their experience. These are like 5 things that really we want to talk about for what women are experiencing. And I kind of want to talk broadly about all of them. We'll go through each one and kind of the opposites, or not the opposites, but how you change this into something more attractive. So women in general, what do they get? They get a ton of attention, a ton of boring, bland attention from guys. Guys are needy as fuck. They need the woman in order for them to feel valuable. They have an abundance of just average idiots, just hitting them up in DMs, catcalling them on the street, and they're fucking cowards, so they can't actually go up and have a normal conversation. They get validated based on their looks alone all the time. Oh, your eyes are so pretty. Oh, you're gorgeous. Oh my God, you're so hot. You're fucking hot. I would fucking, I want to fuck you. Like, all this weird shit.
Yeah, or like the more sneaky version of it, like, let me... What?
Talk further away.
Oh,
it gets really loud.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, or like the more like needy or like the more sneaky version where it's like, I'll hold the door open for you, and expecting something from that, or other just little like subtle things where you're giving her a lot of attention and it's just obvious.
Yeah, exactly. And so and that kind of ties into special treatment, like giving the girl a lot of special treatment. Like holding the door open for her because you want her to like you more. A lot of this comes down to intent, but a lot of these behaviors you're doing, and I mean, you're in this program because you want to learn how to talk to women. So obviously you're probably doing a lot of these behaviors that you're exhibiting. You're probably doing them to attract more women, subconsciously or consciously. And so it's important to understand that these behaviors actually aren't good. You can do these behaviors once you understand the place you need to come from. Like, I hold the door open for people. I'm nice. I walk on the side of the road. Like, when I remember, I try to walk on the side of the street when I'm walking with my girlfriend instead of like on the sidewalk side. So like, I don't know, it's like a chivalry thing. Like I like do stuff like that. I open the door for my girlfriend. Like, I open my car door for my girlfriend. I do shit like that all the time, but it's from a different place. It's from a place of leadership, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But the first place I want to start with is attention. And so all of this bland, boring attention that girls are getting, we need to break that pattern of boring attention just for attention's sake, because attention by itself has no value. But what does have value is assertive attention, and actually giving them attention with a serious intent behind it and not apologizing for it. Girls want a leader, and we'll get to that in a bit, but I want to hear Troy's thoughts on it. Like, dude, all that girls want is someone that is giving them attention, but actually owns up to why they're giving them attention. If you're going to give a girl attention, you need to be assertive about it. You need to not apologize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, basically the main difference there is just like, it's like you are giving her like attention, but it's like you're not hiding anything. Like, she knows why you're there. She knows what's up. You're completely owning it, and you're completely okay with the fact that you're approaching a girl and giving her attention, as opposed to you know, a lot of guys are like giving attention and then kind of like walking on eggshells because they like need a good reaction, which kind of leads into neediness. So a lot of girls experience neediness on a daily basis, and basically, if you want me to like paint a picture really quick, it's like they walk around in their life, and most guys that they interact with, it feels like they need something from them. You know, it feels like if they're talking to a guy, like the guy is like they'll be in a room or something, like at work or whatever, and they'll look across the room and like two dudes will be like hanging out, or maybe like a dude and like an unattractive female coworker or something like that. They'll be like talking normally, and then that same guy will like come over to them and treat them completely differently because he doesn't want to screw anything up with her. He like needs something from her. So and we put leadership here for something that she desired, because this neediness like comes from a lack of actually wanting to like lead. Like, you know, a lot of guys are just hoping that when they talk to that attractive girl, something's going to happen. They're like, I just need something to happen from this interaction. But it's like, nothing's going to happen unless you lead. You know, you're not going to go on a date with that girl unless you take the initiative to exchange phone numbers in a smooth way when the time is right, and then set the date. Like, nothing's going to happen unless you carry the conversation. Nothing's going to happen when you start talking to that girl unless you take charge of that interaction. Obviously, always, you know, paying attention to like how she's reacting, how she's feeling. But yeah, leadership is definitely needed.
Yeah, like the biggest thing is like, honestly, not leading shows that you're not comfortable on your own. And it's actually a monumental amount of pressure to tell a girl, like, because this is what you're subcommunicating. Every time you don't lead and every time you go, I need something from you, you're subcommunicating that, hey, my happiness and all of my self-worth is dependent on you liking me. And even if they want to like you, that's a tremendous amount of pressure to be put under.
Yeah.
Like, imagine I come up to you and I say, and this is obviously like completely like over exaggerated, but like, I'm going to kill myself unless you like me. It's like, that's the most wild, fucked up shit you could ever do to somebody, because you're putting your life in their hands instead of taking your own life into your hands. Mm-hmm. And women, especially feminine women, they want someone to lead. And so the last thing that they want is to feel like they are responsible for the relationship or responsible for your happiness. It's completely fucked. And that kind of goes into abundance of mediocrity, where it's like, if you're surrounded by a bunch of mediocre losers, all these mediocre losers are displaying all these behaviors. They're giving you a ton of validation. They're treating you very special. They're giving you a lot of empty attention. They're very needy. And that's what guys, you know, that's what girls are used to. And so the way you communicate high value is by communicating all these other traits. And value is actually a completely, really like broad topic. And so we're going to have another training later in the program where we talk about what value is and kind of how to build that value. Because a lot of you guys have very intrinsic value just by existing. But we want to talk about how to highlight the valuable parts of you, and then, you know, not show off the things that might be high value, but not show them off in a way that's really like weird and like cringy, where you go up and talk about how much money you make. It's more about the sub-communications. It gets really complex, and that's why it's going to be a separate video. But yeah, dude, what are your thoughts on like just this experience that women have of like just being surrounded by fucking dorks? Like, they're just surrounded by needy losers all the time, and really the goal here is like separate yourself from those losers and just show that you're above it. You don't need to be way above it, because then you're kind of an asshole. You just need to be slightly above it, just aware of it, right? That's why in the Tinder modules, I tell you guys, like, make jokes about the stereotypes of guys in your area. Like here, and a lot of places with like fishing, it's like, yeah, I'm not a guy holding a fish, because like that's what all guys do. They hold up a fish. Or I don't have dirty mirror selfies. Or, you know, I'm in a college town. We're in a college town, so it's like, you know, I'm not a drunk frat boy at the club, right? I play against the stereotypes, and that's one way you can build value.
Yeah, it's like when you are aware of that, the fact that they have like this abundance of mediocrity, like, yeah, they live in abundance, you know, a lot of guys are interested in them, but it's just not the guys that they want, because they have all these weird things, like they need something from them, they require too much validation, or they give too much validation in order to get something. So if you can separate yourself just a little bit from that and just acknowledge it, like literally just acknowledge it, oftentimes that's enough to give that girl that breath of fresh air feeling that she's looking for, where it's like, holy shit, like a guy who gets it, a guy who understands what I go through on a daily basis, and he can just, you know, and we'll get to, you know, treating her like a normal person in a little bit, but like, you know, that's basically what it is. Like, oh, a guy who I can just relax around, a guy who I don't have to, you know, do, like, he doesn't require anything from me.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna steal it from you really quick. Like, dude, what they want is to feel simultaneously extremely safe and not judged, but also intimidated. Like, they want to feel intimidated, like they're, you know, maybe lower value is a weird word to use, but like that, because that's kind of like the pickup term for it. But it's like they want to feel like they could lose you. They want to feel like they have some work to put in to keep you around, but they also want to feel like they can completely be themselves. And that's exactly how you need to make them feel. And I'm gonna fucking steal this one from you, dude, because this kind of ties into validation for looks. Like, guys that give them validation for just their looks, it's so like it ties into the abundance of mediocrity, because that's the most mediocre compliment you could ever give. Giving compliments based on the most obvious thing of like, oh, you're girl pretty, I like boobs and butt. It's like, what kind of fucking retard are you, dude? Like, okay, if you do that to girls, I'm sorry. I called you out a little bit. That might be a little mean, so don't take that personally, because we're going to change it. We're going to change these behaviors. But, like, don't compliment on obvious shit. Don't compliment just to compliment, because these compliments based on looks, one, it means you're not creative, you're not smart, you can't come up with something to say. You don't want to actually make a connection with her. You just want to give her a compliment based on something very superficial. And you can give a compliment based on something superficial, but make it something about her as a person. People like it when their identity is confirmed. Like, if I go, oh, Troy, you're wearing gym clothes. Have you always been a guy that likes to work out? It's like, that feels good, because he's like, yeah, I have been a guy that likes to work out. I like working out. I think working out's really important. And it's like, if you can do that, make a deep connection with someone, that is a way better way to compliment them. And really, like, when you compliment based on looks, the other thing it does is, like, it just shows, it shows a lot of neediness, because you actually can't, like, by giving a compliment for no reason, just based on looks, it means that you want something in return. It means that you want something from her. You're trying to get something, and that's the worst way to go about getting, like, actual positive attention from women.
Yeah, it's important to realize, like a high value guy just wouldn't do that. He wouldn't just look for, or he wouldn't just give validation for looks, because high value guy has probably had experiences with a lot of women, and like he realizes that he's not going to buy right into the interaction really quickly or get super into a girl just for her looks, because she honestly, she could be crazy or she could be weird. He doesn't know that. He's going to try to find out more about her, leading to that connection. And that's why they're looking for that, because it's a guy with high value just wouldn't do that. He would look for more connection, so he knows that she's actually a high quality girl.
Yeah. So another thing that girls experience all the time, and you can just piggyback off of like whatever random shit comes out of my mouth. A thing that girls experience all the time is like this special treatment. And so when a girl is at a bar or a girl is out in public, you know, like we said, she gets the door held open for her. She, you know, guys will treat her differently just because she's hot. She looks at experiences of girls that, you know, they're not stupid. They know that their friends aren't as hot as them. And they look at their experiences, they hear their experiences, and they know, okay, I get treated differently than every other girl that's not as hot as me. And guys, really, you guys are trying to put on the extra game or be extra cool around these girls or be extra nice because you don't want to screw it up with her. But every guy is doing that. Every guy is doing this shit where he's just treating the girl like she's special because, you know, he's putting her up on this pedestal like she's this princess that like is super perfect, never takes a shit, like she's just like this completely like strange entity that isn't actually human, and all she wants is to be treated like a normal fucking human being. All she wants is a guy that's obviously, you need to be cool, you need to be high value, you need to want to build a connection, assertive, be a leader, you need to have these attractive traits. But if you just have those attractive traits and you don't treat her like a normal human being, that's when you get stuck in that kind of purgatory where you're only going home with 7s and 6s, is because once you get into hot girls, once you start talking to the really hot girls, they know you're not used to it because you're treating them differently. You're treating them like the other losers. Even if you have experience going home with like less attractive women, as soon as you hit that wall wherever you're at, where it's like, I'm not used to being with this type of girl, you're just not treating them the same. You're feeling, you know, you feel not okay with, you know, teasing her, giving her shit. It's like, yeah, it is harder to give a girl shit if she's hot, but give her some shit about something. You can find something. No one's perfect. Everyone's a human, right? And you can even give her shit for being too attractive. Like, you can give her shit for anything, right? And so obviously it has to be calibrated. We'll get into that. We'll get into teasing later in the program, but it's like, girls just want to be normal. Girls, like especially hot girls, they want to feel normal. Maybe girls that are 5s and 6s, they don't want to feel normal. They want to be really special because they don't feel special all the time. But when you're talking to the cream of the crop, the genetic elite of hot girls, it's like they don't want to be told all the time, hey, you're really hot, because they fucking know. They're not stupid. You go up to a fucking model, you know, like I've like hooked up with girls that are like cheerleaders in the NFL and stuff like that. It was before, but they were still insanely attractive. And it's like, those girls don't want to feel like you're special to them or they're special to you. Like they don't want to feel like that. They want to feel like they're a normal girl. They're having a normal experience. They can relax around you and feel a little bit intimidated like we talked about. And like, that's what girls want. Girls want a normal experience. And they just don't get that because oddly enough, a normal experience is actually not normal for hot girls. So giving them a normal experience is actually the least normal thing, and that's how you kind of create that Prince Charming effect where you like sweep her off her feet because you're breaking the mold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, breaking that mold, because like probably in her career or just in her daily life, she is being treated like people are treating her like this like princess or whatever. And deep down on the inside, she actually knows like, well, I'm still this like silly little girl that I knew myself as growing up. Like not much has changed, except now I'm all grown up. I have these adult features, but I still feel like a goofy human on the inside. So if you can just treat her like that, almost like you treat like, you know, a good friend of yours, except like not as platonic, obviously, with like a little bit more flirtatious.
We'll get into like how to break platonic barriers, but like, yeah, it really is that.
Yeah, really just treating her like you would a friend. So, you know, not giving her a pass if she gives you some shit. You know, not like treating her like, oh man, I can never upset her. I can never upset you. Because she can be upset. She'll be fine. Like, she's a human. Like there's no need to like treat her like this, you know, fragile little princess. So yeah, if you can just treat her like a normal human, like you would just like your little sister or whatever, like tease her a little bit, then it is like a breath of fresh air, because it's like, ooh, something new, you know. Mm-hmm. At that point, you're giving her more than what she wants. You're giving her what she needs.